and welcome to Chant A Psalm A Day. I've returned. Give thanks that I am returned to chant the Psalm a day. Thank you, the Most High, for life, love, living, and the pursuit of happiness. So, thank you, everybody, for joining on this Monday. We're starting off with a strong psalm. It's Psalm 26. And Psalm 26 is titled, I Will Bless the Lord. I Will Bless Jah. So we translate it, take the pronouns out, and put in the actual word. So I ask that my meditation in my heart, my words that come out of my mouth, are acceptable in the sight of the Most High. Selah and Selah again. In the name of Jah, the omnipotent one, I chant this psalm. So here we go. Psalm 26. I will bless Jah. This psalm has 12 verses. It's Psalm 26. It's a psalm of David. And David is speaking of vindication. He starts off with this word vindicate. So you know me, I like to define words and see what they mean so that we can tap into those meanings deeper. Okay? So vindicate is to clear someone of blame or suspicion. Okay, so David is starting off the psalm with vindicate, clearing him on, blameless of something. Because, David was a soldier. He would, seek the Most High before he went out into battle. I know most of you are probably getting off the Super Bowl train. I have in the past looked at football players, basketball players, and those who are in sports that are having contracts that are beyond belief, whereas teachers' contracts are contrary to that. A teacher who is teaching that football player, a teacher who is teaching the future is not compensated as much as a football player. So those of you who just coming off of the football, NFL, I ban, just like they're banning books, I ban the NFL. The NFL players should be, yes, that's your money, you're working, you're running around for a ball and everything. However, redirecting those funds to teachers, to public servants, so that public servants don't have to go and embezzle money. They're pushed to those points because they are not making anything. By the time taxes are taken out, they're left with zip to take care of themselves and their families. So they have to do nefarious things to get money, which is not good. So this seemed like the system of Babylon is corrupt, it's confusion, and it's, more than likely, if you're in it, you're going to be part of that nefarious activities to get, sustaining your life. So when David is talking about vindication, it's talking about clearing someone, clear someone of blame or suspicion. Okay, so David starts off verse 1 with vindicate I and I, and I translated, David has set these psalms up for the next generation, for all the sons and daughters. So I have to include all the sons and daughters in that. Vindicate I and I, O Jah, for I and I have walked in I and I integrity. So when we look at integrity, we know integrity is honesty, is integrity is honest, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. So David is making a request. Vindicate I and I, O Jah, for I and I have walked in I and I integrity. And the reason that David is requesting this vindication is because David has walked in, the quality of being honest and walked in this strong moral principles and walked in this moral uprightness. And I and I have trusted in the Most High without wavering, period. So verse 1 kind of kicks it off, and we're going to unpack that in terms of how David is requesting vindication and giving reasons why this vindication should happen, because he's walking good. Whenever my children would go out to school, I would always say, walk good, because you want to walk in integrity. You want to walk in this honesty and walking with strength with your moral principles and walking in a moral uprightness. You want to walk good. So David is explaining that I have done that. I have walked good. I've trusted without wavering, and then in verse 2, David speaks on, making a statement to you go ahead and prove I and I, O Jah, and try I and I, test I and I heart and I mind. Okay, so David is making a statement to vindicate. Then he goes into, this is the reason why I'm asking this, and then go ahead now and prove that this is who I am. And David is making that statement of proving who I am in verse 3, giving that reason for proving who David is, that David is asking the Most High to try him and test his heart and his mind. Because in verse 3, for the steadfast love is before I and I eyes. For the steadfast love of the Most High is before I and I eyes. David is speaking here. And I walk in the faithfulness of the Most High. So David is explaining in verse 1, 2, and 3, making a statement to vindicate, and then talking about this is the reason why I need, I'm stating for you, Most High, to vindicate me, because I, and it's like, for I have walked in, goodness, and go ahead and prove I and I, because the steadfast love of the Most High is before I and I. So David is explaining there's nothing else before his eyes, David's eyes, but the steadfast love of the Most High. And David is going to walk in the faithfulness of the Most High. So walk good. Okay, walk good, walk in Jah faithfulness, walk in Jesus's faithfulness, walk. Look how faithful Jesus was. When we look at Noah, when we look at Job, when we look at Jonah. So in looking at verse 1, 2, and 3, it's a big unpacking in terms of the statement of vindication and the reasons for that. Now, it gets even more specific. In verse 4 and 5, David is still on this statement of vindicate I and this is the reasons. In verse 4, David is making a statement, I do not sit with men of falsehood, nor do I consort with hypocrites. I do not love the assembly of evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked, period. So David is very specific now in verse 4 and 5. This is Psalm 26, I will bless Jah. I will bless the Lord. I will bless the Most High, however you want to call your relationship with that creator. I will bless the Most High. So that's the psalm we're doing. And verse 4 and 5 is specific. David is talking about not physically being around folks that are false. And he's not going to be consorting or mingling with people who are hypocritical. They say one thing, they do a next. Their thoughts, their words, and their works are kind of off balance. And they're hypocritical. When we talk about consorting, we're talking about, gathering together, right? And con, you see the word con is in there, con, that's a lie. So all of this, David is explaining he is physically not going to be around these folks. He doesn't love the gatherings of evildoers. He will not sit with the wicked, okay? And then in verse 6, David talks about what he is going to physically do other than sitting around with folks. David in verse 6 makes a statement, I wash I hands in innocence and go around Jah altar, O Jah, proclaiming thanksgiving aloud. So he's giving thanks loudly and telling of the wondrous works of the Most High. That's verse 6 and 7. So proclaiming thanksgiving, what does that mean? He's giving thanks. And he's giving thanks aloud. He's opening his mouth and words, vibrations, sounds are coming out. And he's telling of the wondrous works of the Most High. So in verse 8, 9, and 10, we see David is giving adulation or adoration to the Most High. In verse 8, O Jah, I love the habitation of Jah house and the place where Jah glory dwells. Verse 9, do not sweep I life away with sinners, nor I life with bloodthirsty folks who's looking for blood, right? Who looking to shed blood. In whose hands, in these bloodthirsty individuals' hands are evil devices. A foe, evil devices. And whose right hands are full of bribes. They're taking bribes. So what does that mean? Let's unpack that. Oh my gosh. David, oh my goodness. After David washes his hands in innocence, he's proclaiming thanksgiving. Then he talks about how he loves the habitation of the house of the Most High, where the glory of the Most High dwells, is glory. And he's making a statement, do not sweep me away, sweep I life away with sinners. And sinners could be those who sin in their thoughts, they sin with their words, and they sin with their works. That's why we walk away from words that have that sin sound, because we are purifying the word in the fire 7 times. So we are thinking about what comes out of our mouth as well as what goes in. So when you put living food in there, you're going to have living words. But when you put dead flesh, okay? When I say dead flesh, I mean the flesh of animals, cows, chickens, snakes. What other animals do people eat? Pig. Alligators. Those are dead. You're putting in there that's going to come out, right? You are what you eat. So when we look at verse 8, 9, and 10, it is serious. We have David calling folks out. David is calling folks out like, don't sweep I life away with these folks. And don't sweep I and I life away with these bloodthirsty folks who are after blood, shedding blood. And in their hands, in these bloodthirsty folks and these sinners' hands, they're evil devices. What's an evil device? Evil devices perpetuate evil, and that's their goal, is to do wrong. Is to do wrong. So these evil devices that are mentioned are in the right hand of those that are full of bribes. And what are bribes? Let's look at what a bribe is. Bribe is to persuade someone to act in one's favor, typically illegally or dishonestly, by a gift of money or other inducement. That's a bribe. So David is talking and he's calling folks out, like in verse 10. Verse 10, this is Psalm 26, verse 10. These folks have their right hand full of bribes. And what is a bribe? Is a persuasion to act in one's favor. You're persuading somebody to act in your favor by giving them money or some other kind of inducement. And usually this is illegal or dishonest. And we have politicians who take bribes, who take money or inducement. They may take a trip. They may, get their student loan paid off. They may get some kind of bribe for them to act in the favor of that one that's giving the bribe. Okay, don't vote on this or vote on that or vote on this. So we have this happening in our world today, and it's so rampant. When I say rampant, I mean it's all the way to the top of the pile of folks who are doing this. So David is calling folks out in verse 8, 9, and 10. I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to close out the psalm. Verse 11 and 12 closes this psalm out, this Psalm 26. David is speaking for David now. But as for I and I will walk in I and I integrity, redeem I and be gracious to I and I. Verse 12, I and I foot stands on level ground. In the great gathering, I will bless Jah, Jehovah, Jesus, Selassie the First, the Almighty, Omnipotent, Kadamawe. I will bless that one who sent Melchizedek to bless Abram. That's the one I'm going to bless. The one who Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was adoring and adulating and lifting up. That's the one I will bless. I will bless the Most High. We have lots of gods. We have lots of lords. We have lots of Jesus. I will bless the Most High Almighty, who sent Melchizedek to bless Abram. Okay, that's the one the one that gave David the strength to beat Goliath. That's the one I'm going to bless. Okay, that's the one. So when we talk about your foot standing on level ground, what does that mean? That means that you're going to be planted as a tree, okay, by the rivers of water that bring forth fruit in due time. So your fruit is going to be brought in due time. That means your works. If you're writing a book, if you are, creating an app, whatever you're doing is going to be fruition in due time because your foot stands on level ground, okay? In the great gatherings, you're going to bless the Most High. So when we talk about the word, and purifying the word 7 times in the fire, that's important. It's very important, because when we look at the word, we have to remember that the word is free. It's free. And what you say, what you speak of is going to manifest. That's just how it goes. That's why you speak you speak words of life, and those words of life will garner you life because you're speaking life. So let's look at what the word of the day is. I ask that my meditation in my heart, my the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart are acceptable to the Most High. And as we look for the word of the day, where is the word of the day? It always has to log me in here. So the word of the day, the word of the day, okay, my live just went up. The word of the day today, I get the word of the day from dailyword.com, and dailyword.com is published by Unity Publishers. And the word today is prosperity. Prosperity. So that's our word today, prosperity, for Monday, February 12th. Prosperity, I love it. I love that. Because when we look at the psalm today, we see that David is giving a bless to the Lord, and he's going to bless the Lord with his actions, the way he walks in integrity. These are the things that he's going to do that's going to bless the Lord. He's not going to sit around with those who are, working evil. He's not going to be, he doesn't want to be around those who are full of bribes and bribing folks. He doesn't want that. So the prosperity that the word of the day brings is echoing the prosperity that David is seeking in his life for his adoration, and his actions of righteousness to the Lord, to the Most High, that he's building that relationship with. So let's look into the word of the day. The word of the day, woohoo, prosperity. So prosperity, all that I circulate comes forward to I in an endless flow of prosperity. So whatever you circulate in your space, your creation, is going to return to you in an endless flow of prosperity. So if you're sitting down instead of sitting up, that's what's going to come forward to you. If you're sitting playing a video game all day long, that what's going to return to you is an endless flow of nothingness. Okay? So whatever you circulate is going to return to you. So pick up a book and read a book. You will circulate endless flow of prosperity because it'll empower you to do good work and to make something of yourself, right? So let's look at the word of the day, prosperity. While I enjoy material comforts, as we all do, right? I do not prioritize acquiring material goods or monetary wealth. So your priority isn't acquiring that. I focus instead on my thoughts, asking myself whether I'm thinking about what I don't have and can't give, or whether I am ready to offer the time, talents, and treasure I do have. So think about the time you have, the talents you have, and the treasures you have, as opposed to thinking about acquiring, how am I going to make this money today? What am I going to make this money today? Money, 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 money. Think about what you have that's ready to offer. Okay? As I give, I am assured I will receive. I am grateful to circulate what I have that keeps my awareness centered in the divine flow. I give thanks for the abundance of the world and am blessed with increase and fulfillment. I prosper in the heart-centered wise mind that the Most High is with I and I. Always. I bless all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. So you bless all that you have, right? I bless my legs to take me to work. I don't have a car. When you're in your car driving, think of how grateful you should be, because some folks, as myself, don't have a car to drive to work. I have to get up and have to walk. I think it's 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes in the freezing cold. I have to walk. So when you get into your nice warm car, be thankful. Okay? Be thankful. Bless your car that you have a car to drive. Bless all that you have, all that you give, right? You give of your time, you give of your talents, you give of yourself so much every single day. So give thanks for that, and give thanks for all that you receive. So this word of the day is supported with a scripture from the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 10. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, and thus put I and I to the test, says the Lord of hosts. See, when I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour out for you an overflow of bless. So Malachi chapter 3 verse 10, that's used to support the word of the day prosperity, is talking about this overflow, right? Because the Malachi starts off, it speaks of bringing the full tithe into the storehouse. So when you give, you're going to receive. And then put Jah to the test and see. It says if, but I don't use if. When Jah will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour for you an overflow blessing. Okay? See if I will not do that. See when I will not do that, because I will. The Most High is speaking, I will do that. I will open the windows of the Isla place for you and pour for you an overflow of bless. This rise, I was putting my noonie oil on, and the bottle tipped over and overflowed into the sink, into the bathroom. I don't want to say sink. Sink is sin, is sing is down. Into the face wash area. Okay? The noonie oil spilled and ran out into that area. So there's an overflow. That overflow, whenever that happens, something spills, I let people know, don't cry over spilled milk, because guess what? That is a bless overflowing for you in some other way in your life that's going to come to fruition. So be thankful. Don't cry over spilled milk, okay? Here ends the word of the day, prosperity. And the psalm of the day is 26, I will bless the Lord. It's only 12 verses. Go ahead and read it. And you can listen to my translation as you read it. And, give me your comments. Subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts as to when the next Chant A Psalm A day is going to happen, because I do it early in the rise. It's right now 6 a.m. in the rise. I started this 30 minutes ago. So subscribe to this channel so you can get the alerts of the Psalm of the day, things I do during the day. I am an assistant professor, so I may go in live and share with you what I'm teaching. So go ahead, subscribe to this channel and read Psalm 26 and know that you have an overflow of bless that's coming your way. Receive it. I receive it, and I'm thankful. Thank you for this Psalm for the day 26. The Most High, let my meditation of my heart and the words of my mouth be acceptable in your sight. Jah, Rastafari, head creator, Selassie the First, Jesus Christ. We bless the names of the Lord. We bless the names of the Most High. And we are not going to discriminate against someone who speaks a different language or who calls Yeshua or who calls Yeshua or Yahweh or Jesus. That's what I was trying to say. Who we're not going to discriminate, because when it comes to the end of the day, it's about love. Love is the key and the focus. So, thanks for joining this word of the day and the Psalm of the day. May you have a blessed rest of your day. And remember, walk good, walk good, walk good.